But no, it can't be true. I could fly if I wanted to, like a bird in the sky. If I believed I could fly, why I...
Scootaloo! Hey guys, Horseshoe Man here. I didn't really feel like animating my little Horseshoe all day today, so get used to this hideous face, because in the words of Bill O'Reilly, fuck it, we'll do it live. I said we're doing it live, get out of here! Let's talk about very special episodes. Whenever a show that's largely known for comedy and slice of life decides to go for the brass ring and try to tackle a more serious topic, it's what's come to be known as a very special episode. Famous examples include that one episode of Different Strokes, the child molester in the bicycle store. Yeah, he was giving out some different strokes, alright. And that one episode of Punky Brewster where the kid gets locked in the refrigerator and dies. Fuck you, I think it's hilarious. The trouble with very special episodes is that they can be hard to pull off. Depending on how it's handled, it can come off as either forced, corny, and unintentionally hilarious, or surprisingly poignant. There's not a whole lot of in-betweens. The most effective examples are episodes that weren't advertised as being anything special. That way, the humor lulls you into one state, and when the feels hit the fan, it catches you off guard with a swift, emotional 1-2 punch of comedy and tragedy. There's a reason this little symbol here has been around for a zillion years. Comedy and tragedy feed off and complement each other. It's one of the oldest and most timeless truths about life. You can't have one without the other. Since I assume most of you watching this are from my generation, I think it's safe to say you all know exactly what I'm talking about. We grew up with Boy Meets World, the show that practically perfected the art of combining absurd humor with adolescent mopiness. Hell, it was basically its gimmick. Every other episode was about something sad or terrible. It was great. Another one of my favorite examples is the episode of Fresh Prince where Will meets his father, only to be let down and abandoned by him once again. It's this huge emotional moment, and it's made even more impactful by the fact that it comes out of nowhere, and it's the first time we ever really saw the hippest cat in Bel Air become really vulnerable.
Some business came up I gotta handle, so we're gonna have to put our trip on hold. You understand? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I, Uncle Phil? Got through my first day without him, right? I learned how to drive, I learned how to shave, I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. The hell with him! How come he don't want me, man?
My Little Pony has tried to do serious topics like this before. In Season 3 we had Babseed, which was very much advertised to be a very special episode about bullying. But that episode was kind of not so good. Now, that's not to say that Friendship is Magic being a kids show has somehow hindered its ability to pull heartstrings. The show has resonated with people in the past without even trying, and I can think of a lot of kids' cartoons that have had some very profound and emotional moments. One of my all-time favorites is the Hey Arnold Christmas special, where Helga gives up her Nancy Spumoni boots to help reunite Mr. Wynn with his daughter, who was lost in the Vietnam War. That's some pretty heavy shit for a kids' cartoon. And I'll never forget the image of Helga standing barefoot in the snow, with no one the wiser of her Christ-like sacrifice. What the hell was I talking about again? Scootaloo can't fly, is the point that I was trying to make. A clip from this episode was first shown as an animatic at Comic-Con earlier this year, so I think it's safe to say that the showrunners knew they were picking a clip from the episode that would get people speculating the most, thereby deliberately building it up as a very special episode. Scootaloo has always been a very interesting pony, with a lot of unanswered questions about her, especially leading into this episode. Is she disabled? Will she ever learn to fly? Does she have parents? My personal headcanon has always been that she's Fluttershy's secret rape baby from some traumatic Cloudsdale sexual assault years ago, and the only person she ever trusted with the secret was Rainbow Dash. I feel my ideas explain a lot, and would go a long way toward developing and enriching the world of Equestria in ways harmonious with Foth's original vision. feel free to tweet Hasbro and Megan McCarthy petitioning to get me a job writing for the show, so that I can implement these ideas. As the episode starts, we're brought up to speed on the Equestria games by returning Miss Harshwinnie, who's awesome, but I can't get over her design. Is it just me, or does she look eerily like Denise Crosby? This had me on edge the whole episode, because I kept expecting her to get randomly killed by Artemis, the Skin of Evil.
Dr. Crusher, report!
She's dead.
Now that would have been a very special episode. Here's one thing about this episode that irked me right away. Miss Harshwinnie refers to Rainbow Dash as Miss Dash, and then later Dash makes a joke about professionalism being her middle name. Does that mean Rainbow Dash is her full name? Why has everyone been calling her by her full name this whole time? I hate it when people do that to me. Like, how many other rainbows do you know? And what about Applejack? If Apple is her family name, then does that mean her name is just Jack? That's a boy's name. How come Rarity and Fluttershy don't have last names at all? And what's with Pinkamena Diane? How come everyone else's name is just combinations of cutesy sounding words, but Pinky has this old-fashioned sounding white bread American name? Nobody else has a name like that. What's going on? And now I brace myself for 1,000 novel-sized comments that I won't read about everyone's personal theories regarding equestrian naming onomastics. It's a joke, people. I don't really care. Is it just me, or are the animators really showing off with the lighting this season? What, was the whole season directed by J.J. Abrams? Because he uses a lot of lens flare in his movies. Finally, a song I can relate to. So the Cutie Mark Crusaders are preparing a routine for the Equestria games, and doing pretty well, until Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, being their usual cunty selves, actively conspire to pick on a cripple. Yeesh, now that's extra cunty. The B-plot involves Rainbow Dash struggling to remain unbiased and professional, being unsure of how to show support for the Crusaders without giving them special treatment.
To give a calm, clear analysis...
Yeah, Dash, they want a proper analysis. So don't use words like autistic or faggot or retard. You might hurt someone's feelings and then you won't get posted on Equestria Daily. 'Cause only kids go on there, right? Scootaloo becomes so insecure about her flying that she makes it the focus of the routine and alienates her friends. This is the meat of the episode, but unfortunately it takes a long time to get to this point. Scootaloo's wings aren't even brought up until about 11 minutes in.
You know what, Sweetie Belle? Forget it. If she's gonna quit, we don't want her, and we don't need her.
Apple Bloom's just being a bitch. I guess that hot-headed, stubborn streak runs in the family. In fact, I guess you could say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh no!
Boo! That was real gay, my nigga!
Hey! Hoo-ah! I made it funny. At one point, the hub played a commercial for something called Sea Pets, which featured a song that sounded creepily familiar.
Sea pets, sea pets.
Rainbow Dash is awesome in this episode, and doesn't hesitate for a second to embody her element, which I'm sure all the idiots who have a hate boner for Dash will just ignore, like they always do. Miss Dash convinces them to go back for Scoot, while these two twats hang out the window and wallow in the muck of their own cuntiness.
Sorry you can't make it. We'll take a picture for you from the...
Shut the fuck up!
So here at the end, Rainbow Dash gives Scootaloo a sincere pep talk about how even if she never learns to fly, she's awesome the way she is. It's a nice speech and all, but Okay, can you see what's wrong with this scene? Anyone? I'll give you a hint. Why in the fuck is she flying while she says this? This is such a weird oversight by the writers or the animators or whoever. It almost seems like she's inadvertently taunting poor Scoot. Imagine if you had a weight problem, and you were trying really hard to work out and lose weight, but no matter what you did, you just couldn't shed that beer belly. And then fucking Lex Luger shows up to tell you that you're fine the way you are, but the whole time he's in his wrestling trunks, so you gotta sit there and look at his glorious, perfect, chiseled, oiled, 6% fat Adonis body and be reminded how much better he is than you. But then again, I guess he did beat the shit out of Miss Elizabeth, so at least you still have the moral high ground. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Am I making sense at all? My point is, it's a stupid mistake, and it dampens the sincerity of the whole scene. Just like Lex Luger.
What kind of disgusting, despicable, I don't know! God! And your t-shirts are too tight too, Billy! I'm pissed now!
The moral of the episode is reminiscent of that one Einstein quote that you always see posted on Facebook by aimless millennials fresh out of college with no clear direction in life. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, you're gonna have a bad time. What that means is that everyone has a knack for something, it's just a matter of finding it, and not being discouraged by the pursuits that simply aren't for you. But more importantly, some people are just cunts. And there's no cure for being a cunt, but if you give up, you let them win. So when you get knocked down, take the standing 8 count, get back up, and fight again so you can rub your success in their smug little faces, hear the lamentation of their women, and shine on while they burn inside your light. Truly the most spadoinko feeling in life. Ve Victus! Holy shit! 7 obscure references in 1 sentence. That's gotta be some kind of a record, and that is why I am the Big Cheese head honcho chairman of the motherfucking board. I think I deserve some kind of award for that. We did it, Adrian. Right at the end of the episode, there's a blatant tease for Scoot's cutie mark, which had me facepalming pretty hard. I mean, why wouldn't you give her a cutie mark here? It seems like the perfect time if they were ever gonna do it, but they copped out. I'm sure this will, predictably, send the fan base into a tizzy, just as I'm also sure that that's exactly what their plan was. They've had a few years now to get used to interacting with the fan base, and by now they know exactly how to push all of our buttons and keep us talking about the show. I honestly think they get a kick out of watching us flip out, overanalyze, and fight amongst ourselves. Truly, we are but ants. And they, the mad gods, pissing in our anthills. So, anyways, this episode was kind of mediocre. It took too long to get going, and when all was said and done, it didn't really deliver on its promise at all. I feel like it promised 2 things, either to clearly define once and for all whether Scoot has a disability or is just a late bloomer, or to give her a cutie mark, one or the other at least, and it delivered on neither of these. It sort of skated around the issue of the first thing, and blatantly trolled everybody with the second thing. And yeah, you could say, well, they never really promised either of those things, you just inferred it. And that's true, but from the way the episode was marketed and talked about, from the clips that were shown, the tweets from Megan, the animatic that was shown at Comic-Con, it was all building up to and implying that this would be the case, so I don't think I'm wrong in having assumed that, based on what I knew. I was a little bit disappointed. It's not a big deal, obviously. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still My Little Pony, so none of this is serious business. I think a lot of people forget that. It's just my opinion, so if you disagree, well, maybe I'm full of shit. Yeah, how many other reviewers do you know who'll say that? Maybe I'm full of shit. I mean, I guess they did imply pretty heavily that Scoot is disabled, even if they didn't outright say it. But I'm a busy man. I don't have time for subtlety. I need stuff shoved right in my face. The episode was okay. I just don't think it was the perfect godsend that everyone else is calling it. But, you know, whatever. It's My Little Pony. Who gives a fuck? I'm a grown man. In my pajamas. In a basement. Standing in front of a bunch of comic books and porn, reviewing My Little Pony for guys even older and weirder than me. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Look at me. This is the face of the My Little Pony fandom. You have every right to feel uncomfortable. Abandon hope, all ye who enter, and may God have mercy on your soul, because we have gone full horse, and this conga line's going all night. To all my followers, I hope that these rugged good looks weren't too much of a distraction for you. It certainly beats the hell out of editing a cartoon pony's lip movements all day. What do you like more, this way or the other way? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. No, I'm not. I'm drowning in horseshoes. And to sum up this episode in one word,
I'm drowning in
Horseshoes.